Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason Gaszak, and I'm the pastor of Roots Church out in St. Clair, Missouri, and you are listening to Unfiltered radio show, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. Man, oh man, I first have to just say, what is up with this weather? Man, I know today is much cooler, but the last 4 days have just been outstanding, and I wish honestly, all winter would be that way. I only want snow like from December 15th to January 1. That's it, just for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. After that, I want it to warm back up. I don't even need 80s. I just need it to be in the 50s all winter, and I would be completely happy. I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but anyway, I have a really crazy show for you today. It is election week next week. I hope you get out and vote because your vote matters. No matter what people tell you, no matter what you might have thought in the past, your vote does matter. And I am going to share with you about some of the amendments of my take on it and how I'm going to vote as a pastor. When it comes to the representatives and the judges and stuff, I'm not really going to say much about that because really a lot of them are running unopposed and a lot of them have already been decided and they're only on the ballot really to make them official. But the amendments are really what's really important. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. I'm also going to talk about, let's see, I've got several different articles that I'm just going to talk about and just share really my thoughts on the articles and how I just disagree. I'm going to talk about some actions of some of these articles. So we're going to do that. So I've got 4 or 5 different articles we're going to talk about. And then in the meat and potato segment, we're actually going to talk about free speech. What is free speech and why is there so much violence if there's free speech? So that's going to happen in the third segment. So we have a lot that we're going to do. And then I don't really know what I'm going to do in the last segment yet. I haven't decided. I have some things on my docket here, but I just don't know what direction I'm going to go. And I really don't know if I can get through everything, to be honest with you. So let's just have fun today. I am here by myself in my studio talking to all of you out there. If you could just put in the chat on the Real Talk Radio app. If you are up bright and early this Saturday morning, 7 a.m., go to the radio app, the Real Talk Radio app, and just put in the chat, good morning, where you're from, whatever you want. If you want to text me and let me know that you're here, you can do that at 314-924-4215. That's 314-924-4215. Last week, I didn't really have a lot of chatter, so I really don't know if you were there or not. There's no way of me knowing how many listeners I have on this radio show. But you know what? It doesn't really matter to me. I'm here. I'm having fun. If there's only one person listening and it's my wife, then I guess that's all that matters. That's the way I view things in life. I don't worry about what other people think. I definitely don't care what they think because I'm not living my life for them. I'm living it for me. And I hope you feel the same way. And of course, that doesn't mean I don't care about what other people think. I do care. It's just, I also don't care. I mean, is that possible? Is it possible for me not to care, but yet I do care? Because I don't want to be, conceited or ignorant or, what's that word they use? I'm trying to think. Narcissist. I don't want to be a narcissist. I couldn't think of the word. It was right there on the tip of my tongue. But I sincerely just don't care what other people think, but then I do care because, it does matter. So let's talk today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about what is going on around our nation and how crazy things are. I want to start with this one article right here. I'm going to read to you the headline. And it says, Obama says Republicans are not interested in solving problems, but they are interested in making you angry. Okay, Mr. Obama, former President Obama, I hear you. I mean, here's some points that it says in the article that former President Obama said Republicans are disinterested in tackling issues affecting real people. Lie. Own the libs and getting Donald Trump's approval. That's their agenda. Lie. Obama made the remarks as he stumped for Governor Tony Evers and Lieutenant Mandela Barnes in Milwaukee, whatever he was doing, listen, okay. When it comes to Democrats and Republicans, I really struggle with these two parties anyway. I look at myself as a conservative. Yes, I probably most definitely vote Republican because those fit my beliefs and my core values according to the Word of God. They're not all in line. Not everything is perfect. Not everything they do, it lines up, but it lines up way more than what the Democrats do or what the libertarians or the independents. And so, I mean, there really is only two parties, in my opinion. It is the Democrats and the Republicans. It's always been that way. Not to say that there shouldn't be another party, but it's going to be really tough to change that. And I just feel like the Democrats, to me, in my opinion, they're the ones that want to start the trouble. They're the ones that want to always do the fighting and the violence. Now, if you go real far right, there are definitely far, far right people that do want to kind of start stuff. I mean, we saw that, right? We saw that during this last election. But I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of the Republican Party is not like that, in my opinion. Now, you may be listening today and you may be a Democrat and you say that's a lie. Well, guess what? You have the right to your opinion, and you also have the right to be wrong. And you are wrong. And I'm just going to call it for what it is. You are wrong because the Republicans aren't like that. Those of us that have core values, those of us that believe according to God's word, you do not see us out there fighting with people, angry with people, beating people up because we disagree with them. That's just not who we are. I'm just telling you, when you look at these articles, you look at the things that are going on, it's just not who we are. So anyway, I wanted to start with that little article because, again, here we go, the media and certain celebrities or personalities or past presidents will say things and do things just to get us more divided. That is the ultimate agenda, is to divide us. And that's exactly what they're doing, is dividing us. We, as the people, need to stand firm, and we do not need to allow these idiots to divide us. It's not worth it. They have an opinion. They have a belief system. It's crazy that they believe the way they do, but that's the way it is. Good for them, whatever. But for me, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I believe. And we're going to talk about that. I'm actually going to read after the break here in just a minute. We're going to talk about the amendment. We're going to talk about the election. We're going to talk about some of those things and explain from my perspective and why I'm voting the way I am. I get people all the time asking me, Pastor, how do you vote? What do you think about this? And who are you voting for? And why are you voting that way? And guess what? I am not afraid to tell anyone who I'm voting for. I just don't care. I am going to give the realness of why I believe the way I do and why I'm voting the way I do. And if you don't like it, that's all right. You live in America. You can like and be and do and vote the way you want to. And I'm going to do the same for you. I mean, if you vote a completely opposite of me, oh, well, good for you. At least you voted. Honestly, at least you voted, because what's most annoying to me, I mean, absolutely most annoying, is the people that are out there that are not registered to vote. They always seem to have the loudest voice. And truthfully, you don't have a voice, in my opinion. If you're not registered to vote and you are not a good, responsible citizen by making your vote count, then you don't have a voice to me. Sorry, but that's the way it works. So I when I get in conversations, and if I don't know if they're a registered voter, I'll flat out ask them, are you registered to vote? You're not? Then shut up. Because we're not talking. I'm literally not going to talk to somebody about politics and about social issues if you're not going to be responsible and get out and vote. Period. That's just the way it is. I'm just not going to waste my time or my breath on someone that wants to talk about a subject that they're not even invested in, they have not done anything to make a difference. But they're sure willing to just talk about it, and they're sure willing to give their opinion about it, but they're not willing to go out and register and actually vote. And even if you are registered, okay, great, that's step one, but did you vote? Do you vote? Is it important to you to get out and vote? Is it important to you for your vote to count and be a part of the American people? That's the question. So we're going to talk about it. Coming up in just a few minutes, we do have to take a break. Don't go nowhere. Refill that coffee. Go to the bathroom. Bring somebody with you. Text somebody. Email somebody. Facebook somebody. Instant message somebody. Tell them about this radio show, Unfiltered, on Real Talk 93.3. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, we are back and we are ready to go. We are talking about election time. Tuesday is the day. Tuesday's the big day, midterms. Boy, are we seeing a battle out there. I'm going to talk about a lot of this here in a minute, but I want to talk specifically about my area of voting and the amendments that we're facing in front of us, because let me tell you something. I have to research these things. I have to talk to other people. I need someone to actually put these things in layman's terms, because when you look at the different amendments, like Amendment 3, it's 38 pages of crap. I mean, come on. If you read what the amendment is and you're trying to understand what it is we're actually voting for, it's confusing. It's super confusing. That freaked me out. That music freaked me out. I hit the button, and that was kind of funny, actually. Like I said, everything here is unfiltered. You get the real deal right here on this radio show. So I printed out the sample ballot for Franklin County. Franklin County, Missouri, Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. It's the general election official ballot. I printed it out, and that was even confusing because I got like 12 pages, and it's like a repeat. That I don't even understand. So whoever did that needs to fix that, because that can be confusing. And why is there so many pages? Maybe I'm just missing it. But even at the top of every page, it says the same thing, but it's not all the same. I don't have a clue. I mean, it literally, maybe somebody can help me out. I don't know. But here's what I know. Okay, let's look at these amendments. So let me get to, all these crazy pages. Let's talk about, first of all, Amendment number 1. Amendment number 1. We're going to get to Amendment number 3. This is the second segment. I don't have much time. We'll go over these. It says, do you want to amend the Missouri Constitution? Oh, there's your first red flag right there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just tell you right now, in my opinion, anytime anyone wants to amend the Constitution, it's already almost a no for me. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is the problem with law, is they always want to change the rules, and the Democrats are great at it. When it doesn't fit what they want to change the rules. And yes, that happens with Republicans as well. So what I'm trying to say is no on Amendment 1. We are not in favor of loosening restrictions on where state funds can be invested. Because what Amendment 1 is saying is that we want to allow the General Assembly to override the current constitutional restrictions of state investments by the state treasurer and allow the state investments in municipal securities possessing one of the top 5 highest long-term ratings or the highest short-term rating. To me, the answer is no. No on Amendment number 1. That is the way I'm going to vote, ladies and gentlemen. You can keep track of this. You can do whatever you want. I don't care how you vote. Actually, I do care how you vote. I want you to vote no on Amendment number 1. We do not want loosening. We do not want to loosen the restrictions of where state funds can be invested. And it was proposed by the state legislature. But again, we just don't want to do it. That's just my opinion. I don't want to amend the Constitution to do that. Here, let's go to Amendment number 3. Amendment number 3. Oh, a lot of young people are going to want this one to pass because they think it's all about marijuana. They think it's all about legalizing marijuana. However, there is way more to this amendment than what most people even think of. It says right here, again, do you want to amend the Missouri Constitution to remove state prohibitions on purchasing, possessing, consuming, using, delivering, manufacturing, and selling marijuana for personal use for adults over the age of 21? Well, shoot, you read that and everybody's like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's release it. It shouldn't be, a law. Let's release it. or require a registration card for personal cultivation with prescribed limits, or allowing persons with certain marijuana-related non-violent offenses to petition for release from incarceration or parole and probation and have records of being expunged. I mean, I'm just reading these things and it's just blowing my mind. Listen, I struggle with these types of amendments right here. First of all, you may not know this, but this particular amendment was not even ran through the legislature. It actually came from a private group of people that has an agenda, a hidden agenda. They hide behind what they really want, and they put out there what everybody else wants, and they hide it within the 38 pages. So that way they aren't known, but yet they're trying to get their point across. They got all these signatures to get it on the ballot. I forget what the exact, because listen, this is not my profession. I'm not even close of understanding all the terminology and the technological sides of how this all works, okay? But I got friends that do, and they know exactly, and they could spout it off with no problem. But the bottom line is, this did not come from the state legislature. It came from a group of people, private people, that got a bunch of signatures to get it on the ballot because they knew most people would be in favor of this first part of removing the state prohibitions on purchasing, possessing, and consuming, using, delivering, manufacturing, and selling marijuana for personal use for adults over the age of 21. That's the main thing. But then what you don't understand is there are a lot of other things in there. Like it would be a monopoly on particular businesses that they would be the only ones to be able to actually do that. And therefore it's a monopoly. And that's not how this is supposed to be set up. And there's a lot of other things in there. On top of it, it creates criminal penalties in the Constitution, which cannot be eliminated or reduced legislatively. Here's the other thing. Once you make it an amendment, it's very difficult to reverse it. Let's not amend the Constitution. Let's just actually put it into a law, which makes it a lot easier to change. It also creates a marijuana with the expansive powers to affect who profits from the industry. It also supposedly is going to allow schools to be able to put whatever information or educate our children with particular books. There's a lot of little things in there, but I'm just going to tell you right now, my answer is no, a big fat no on Amendment 3. Big fat no. Go tell everybody no on Amendment 1, no on Amendment 3. Here's Amendment 4. Let me give you the answer. You ready? No on Amendment 4. No on Amendment 4, which this says, shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to authorize laws passed before December 31st, 2026 that increase minimum funding for a police force established by a state board of police commissioners to ensure such police force has additional resources to serve its communities? The answer is no. This really doesn't have this is a lot, from what I understand. It is the result of ratcheting up funding for the KC police with no way of pulling the funding back. It further brings state control of this local police force that should be under the control of the local residents. So the answer's no on Amendment 4 from my resource, from what I understand. Because again, it's like a mumbo jumbo. Here's the last one, Amendment number 5. I'm actually going to vote yes on this one. This amendment will result in a higher level of state control of the Missouri National Guard. It is intended to distribute power and promote the principles of federalism. So it's good. I'm all about the National Guard having its own, being its own, it says, shall the Missouri National Guard, currently under the Missouri Public Safety, be its own department? My answer is yes. Yes on 5. All right, we got to take a break. I gave you the ones that you needed to know about, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okie dokie, we are back, and I wanted to just share just for a minute, because I had to zip through those amendments. Yes, on Amendment 5 was the last one, but I also wanted to say there was one other one about a constitutional convention. The answer on that is no. The rules for selecting these delegates at a state convention are not very good. They actually invite corruption into the delegate selection process. and the outside money could easily rule the day. It literally could draw money so far and wide that it would be unprecedented amount to actually influence the outcome. So the answer to that one would be no on the Constitutional Convention question. Listen, I honestly, some of these things are so hard to go by, but I have a very good couple of resources that I go to, and I read these things that I feel like they stand by, my values, and this is what I go off of. And I guarantee there's going to be people out there that disagree, but a lot of times you disagree because you're not looking at the whole thing. There's a lot of things in here that I would be okay with, but there's more things than not. And as a matter of fact, even if there's only one thing, if there's one thing on the amendment that I am absolutely against, my answer is going to be no, even if I like the other 9 things. If there's 10 things on there in the amendment, I like 9 out of 10, but there's one I don't like, my answer is still going to be no. That's the problem with these amendments is they add so many things for it. Just put the one thing on there so we can just talk about the one thing. But nope, that's not how they work. That is not how it works. So that's how I'm going to vote. Let's talk a little bit about what else is happening. I mean, everything seems to be so political these days. And I would probably say it is. And one of the things that I do want to talk about more than anything is this Pelosi attack. I try not to have too strong of opinion on these things because, listen, we don't know the whole story, all right? There's always 3 sides to every story. It's his side, her side, and then the truth. It's the media side, and then there's the truth. And the problem is we're only getting one side from the media on this Pelosi attack. Okay, she's not there. Her husband's there. Man in his underwear comes with a hammer, breaks in the back door, runs upstairs, yells, "Where's Pelosi? I want to break her kneecaps." And yet he, basically, assaults her husband. There's been a lot of talk about this. I'm not going to go into what people have told me that is actually funny, and I really don't know, but it sure sounds like it could be true. Here's the one thing that really struck me more than anything, that I think when you're reading these stories, I'm going to pull the story up while I'm talking to you. When you're reading these stories and you're trying to find the truth, because really we all just want the truth. But you're looking at this guy first who's just some whack job out there who lives in San Francisco. I'm sorry, San Franciscoans. You guys got some different kind of people out there. No doubt you got some different kind of people. I love San Francisco. It's a pretty cool place. It's beautiful. They got a lot of neat culture there, but there's just some craziness there. But here you have the 3rd highest level position in our country, her husband, and you're going to tell me that there was no security guards, there was no security cameras. It was just so easy for this man just to walk right through a gated community, right to the back door, break the window, the door glass open, walk right in, no alarm going off, nobody hears it, nobody sees it. It's 2:30 in the morning. And we're talking the 3rd highest level position in our country. And you're going to tell me that no one noticed and no one knew until after the fact, and he was able to call the police? Come on, people. Come on. There's no way that would happen to anybody in any high-level position. The alarm would have went off. There would have been cameras. There's something would have happened. And listen, conspiracies. I'm all about conspiracies. And I just got to believe that this is definitely fishy. There is a conspiracy that I believe this man was paid or bought to actually do this, to make the Republicans look terrible. They're just violent people, and we're just after all the Democrats and all the liberals. We want them all to die. And it's just not true. What a perfect time to actually have this story break right before the midterms, when the Democrats know they are losing, and they are losing big right now. It is going to be a sea of red come midterms. It's going to be a sea of red. And I really hope we take the House and the Senate and we take everything back under control. And in 2 more years, we take the presidency back so we can get things back on track. Because our economy is the worst it's ever been. Sure, inflation is good and everybody's doing well, but trust me, ladies and gentlemen, we're already starting to feel it. We're already starting to see it in businesses. We're already starting to see it in the housing market. We're already starting to see it in the financial side of the stock market. It's at its worst since 2008, which was terrible then. But Biden will tell you it's the best it's ever been. That's a lie. Again, a flat out lie. That's what he wants you to believe. And as a matter of fact, they lie so much that they believe their own lies. That's how it works. You just keep lying about it and you end up believing your own lie. And that's exactly what this is. I don't buy this story. Listen, violence is not the answer. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, but violence is absolutely not the answer. It's just not the answer. But here's another story that drives me nuts when it comes to this. Again, the Pelosi thing's a joke in my opinion. It's sad that this happened, but I think they've paid off. I think they wanted this to happen. I really do. I think it went south, and that's just my conspiracy theory. Again, it's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, but I think I'm right. I think there's something else going on. It just doesn't make sense that the third highest level position in our nation, that they can just walk in a gated community, break open the back door with no security alarms, no cameras, nobody there, and walk right upstairs. It just doesn't make sense. Fishy, goofy nonsense. And then you got down in Florida. Here you got Luke Bryan. How many like Luke Bryan? Man, I like Luke Bryan. I saw him in concert one time in Springfield, Missouri. It was awesome. Had a good time. But here he is in Florida on a, raising funds for the victims of the terrible tragedy there with the hurricane. And Ron DeSantis is there. And he pops up on stage and the crowd goes wild. I mean, I don't know how you cannot like Ron DeSantis. I mean, this dude is unbelievable in his policies and the way he leads. And I do think it won't be long and he'll be running for president one day. I just don't know if this is it yet. But Luke Bryan, he was on his Raised Up Right tour, and he brought Governor Ron DeSantis out in Jacksonville on last Friday, and literally he gets all this backlash from people about how it was all political. It was just the right time, right during the midterms, all of a sudden, to promote DeSantis and all that. And I'm like, are you kidding? And listen, that may be true. It absolutely may be true. But why is it okay for the Democrats and the liberals to do that with what their schemes are, but it's not okay for the Republicans, even if that was the case? Oh, it's funny how it's always one-sided. This is the craziest thing I've seen in my times of how it's one-sided, how one side always wants it to be their way. But when the other side starts to do something, all of a sudden now it's wrong. All of a sudden now it's just this, political thing, and it's not really for the right reasons. It's unbelievable, the crap I'm seeing on here. It says right here, look, I understand this was for a hurricane relief from the devastation that happened in Florida. I can understand that. But when you do this 10 days before the midterms, it's nothing but a political stunt. You could have done this after the midterms. Shame on you, Luke Bryan. Shame on you, Luke Bryan. That's what one of the writers says. Other people tweeted, sad and seriously disappointing, F you, Luke Bryan. Another person said, cancel Luke Bryan. People are gone mad. They've gone mad. They've gone crazy. They're out of control. No one can have free speech these days. Oh, we think we live in a country with free speech, but we really don't have free speech because there's violence running rampant when somebody has the freedom to say and believe what they want and the other party doesn't agree with them. Violence takes place. Now we're going to beat them to death. We're going to kill them. We're going to slash their throats. We're going to hit their kneecaps. We're going to do whatever we got to do because we can't stand what they're saying. Unbelievable. Cancel culture. I guess the question is, are we living in a time of free speech? What do you think? Do you think we have free speech today? I don't. I literally don't see us having free speech today because of the violence that comes. I've only got 3 minutes, but I want to kind of share this other article that took place that happened. Again, I don't understand where this world is going to, man. I don't understand it. But Michigan and Michigan State, have you heard about this? Michigan and Michigan State have a brawl in the tunnel. It's one of the few stadiums where the opposing team comes out in the same tunnel as the home team. And they got in there and they literally had this erupted violence after the game because of whatever didn't go the way, they didn't win. And so now, I mean, there's video all over the internet of this attack where guys taking their helmets off and beating the other dude without a helmet on. I mean, there's like 15 guys on one. I mean, it is an assault. It's dangerous. It's terrible what we're seeing in colleges. Come on, man. When is this crap going to stop? Unreal. And I'm just trying to read through some of these comments from Michigan State, and it just doesn't. I just don't get it. I literally just don't get it. Why is there such violence out there? Why, ladies and gentlemen, when things don't go the way we want them to, why do we have to get into a fight? Why do we have to bring violence to the situation? I mean, road rage is another example of this. I mean, I have road rage, don't get me wrong, but it's not at the place of violence. It's just at the place where I'm just like yelling at the person in front of me. They don't even know I'm yelling at them. I'm just doing it to make me feel better. I got to get better at that. I mean, my church knows that I talk about this all the time. It's a struggle. I mean, I want people to go back to driving school. I mean, you're at a yield with a ramp and people stop. And you're not supposed to stop. You're supposed to keep going and then yield over, make your way in to the traffic, not stop. Stopping causes accidents. Stopping causes me and others like me to be upset with you because you don't know the road rules. But I'm not going to get out and I'm going to beat somebody up because they didn't do what they were supposed to. That's the difference. Where today you got people out there that when people don't do what they want them to do, they bring violence. And it doesn't make sense. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I just want to show you biblically what the Bible says about violence. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you what the Bible says about freedom of speech. Don't go nowhere. Come back. We'll be back here in just a few minutes. This is Real Talk Radio 93.3. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we are back for the last segment. I'm glad you stuck around, and we've been having a lot of fun on here. At least I have. It'd be cool if I could just have some phone calls, but because this is all pre-recorded, it makes it virtually impossible, and we'll see what that looks like one day. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do phone calls on the day that I record. We'll see what happens there. But let's talk just a minute about this freedom of speech. What sparked my interest on this was a New York Times article came out that said we have a freedom of speech problem. That was kind of the title of the article. And I kind of reading all about it, and I literally agree with a lot of what they were saying because I do think we have a problem with freedom of speech. And a lot of people ask, well, is freedom of speech biblical? Well, I think the idea that the Creator has endowed us with the right to liberty is debatable, but it is true that God created man with a free will. We just talked about this in our staff meeting about God's will. What is God's will? What does that look like? Does he have he has a perfect will and a permissive will, but then there's also free will that man gets to choose, and God allows man to choose what he wants. I mean, God's not up there making us decide these things. He's telling us what we should do, and he has a plan of what he wants us to do. And he even has a directive will of what is actually going to happen no matter what we do. But we have a free will. Therefore, I believe we should have free speech. I believe we should have the freedom to do what we want. For instance, I do not think it is the government's job to dictate and protect me from what I want to do. If I want to drive in a car and not wear my seatbelt, that should be my decision. That should not be the government's decision. That should not be the law for me to have to wear a seatbelt. Now, do I think it is wise to wear a seatbelt? Yes, and I do wear one. But I don't think it's anybody's job to tell me that I have to wear a seatbelt, just like on a motorcycle. You tell me how asinine it is that now the law is you don't have to wear a helmet, but you still have to wear a seatbelt. Are you kidding me right now? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. If you don't want to wear a helmet, you shouldn't have to wear a helmet. I agree. I don't think it's wise that you're on a motorcycle in this crazy world without a helmet. However, if that's what you want to do, it's your prerogative. You do what you want to do, and no one should tell you that you couldn't do it. You get what I'm saying? It's crazy to me how the government wants to control everything for our safety. Now we have to wear, go horseback riding. I don't care if you're experienced or not, to go horseback riding, they make you wear a helmet. I don't want to wear a helmet while I'm horseback riding. I look ignorant. Are you kidding me? If I want to wear a helmet, I'll wear a helmet, but I'm not wearing one horseback riding. I'm not wearing one when I'm going on a scooter. We went to San Diego a month ago to a convoy event, and we rented these electric bikes, and they made us take a helmet. I said, I'm not wearing it. And they said, that's fine, you don't have to, but you got to say that at least you have it on you and you took it with you. Fine. I bungeed that thing to the back of the bike, and I took off without it. I'm just not, I don't understand. I should have the freedom to do what I want to do within the parameters of the law that keeps order. I don't think I'm free to go beat somebody up because I'm just mad at them. I don't think that's right. I'm not free to go murder someone or rob a bank or, all those things that we all can agree that are biblical, in my opinion, the biblical things. There's nothing in the Bible that says you should wear your seatbelt. The Bible says we need to use wisdom in our decisions. And this is why a lot of people, they struggle with religion. I hate religion. Religion is man-made rules that holds bondage over people. It holds people to a standard that they don't even do. It's religion. It's stupid. It's not about religion. It's about a relationship. It's not even about right or wrong. It's about, is it wise? Is it wise? Okay, let's talk about, I just went off on a total rant. It doesn't even matter. It's unfiltered, right? I'm just going to unfilter the last segment and just randomly talk about what I want to. So let's talk about it. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about whether I should or shouldn't. It's literally, is it wise? Okay, there's nowhere in the Bible does it say that you can't drink. This is like a hot topic for churches. The only reason why people tell you not to drink and they don't want you drinking is because what it can lead to, debauchery. It could lead to getting drinking and driving and killing someone. Yeah, absolutely it can. But a person has to take responsibility for their actions. You have to be responsible. You have to be a responsible citizen of in which the place we live, doing the wise thing. So in other words, if you have an addictive personality, do you think it would be wise to drink? No. Do you think it would be wise to smoke marijuana? No. Do you think it would be wise if you have an addictive personality to start smoking? No. Why? Because you have an addictive personality and you find something and you just go beyond what you should do. I know people that have addictive personalities and they don't want to do drugs, so they work out. And because they work out, now they're addicted to working out. But thank God, at least it's healthy. I'd rather, if you're going to do something addictive, that it be healthy. This whole thing of freedom of speech is falling apart in our country because people don't like the opinions of other people. And violence is running rampant. And I'm going to tell you why our country is so violent. It's because of all the movies. It's because of the video games that our kids are being groomed from age 4 or 5 when they're playing video games all the way up until they're adults. They're watching their parents get into fights at Little League baseball games because of the call that a teenage umpire tries to make. And because you're mad about the call, you violently yell at the coach, you violently yell at the umpire, the kids, whatever it is, and then you have these Little League brawls because of stupidity. I mean, parents, what example are you setting for your children when it comes to violence? So what is violence? Violence is defined as a physical force exerted for the purpose of violating, damaging, or abusing, and sadly, violence is a part of everyday life. No doubt. It's in our movies. It's in our television shows. It's in the world where power is often established through violence. But for us as Christians, those of us that are Christ followers, the way of the world is always trumped by the truth of the word. So what does the Bible say about violence? I only have a couple minutes, but we need to know that violence in the mind is just as hurtful as violence by the hands. The Bible says, do not hate your brother in your heart. Everything starts from your heart. Out of the mouth, your heart speaks. But you also need to know that our hearts can also be deceitful. We have to guard our heart from these things. Rebuke your neighbor frankly so you will not share in his guilt. There's things biblically that we can do. So when we know someone is in sin, it's more loving to keep quiet and build up. It isn't, I should say, or is it? I'm asking the question. Is it more loving to keep it quiet and build up hate and resentment towards them? No. God says we should speak frankly. See, this is that freedom of speech. I mean, if I'm with someone and they're doing something that I don't want to do that is against my values, and I speak up and say, no, that's not really what I want to do, then my friends will turn on me and say, oh, all of a sudden you're Mr. Good Guy. All of a sudden you're Mr. Holy. All of a sudden you do no wrong. That's what that turned. Because, see, they're mad because I'm not validating or falling into the trap of things that they want to do that are not right. Well, listen, if that's what you want to do, go do it. I'm just not going to go do it. And don't be mad at me because I don't want to do it. If that's what you want to do, go do it. It's wrong. It's not right. But if that's what you want to do, then go do it. Violence is not the answer. Killing people is not the answer. And we're seeing more and more of it today. One, because there's more and more people on this earth. But two, it's because violence is everywhere. Violence is everywhere we go. Everything we watch. Everything we listen to. Music. It's all over the media. It's at concerts. It's at schools. It's everywhere we go because people can't control their emotions. Listen, we're in a topic starting this Sunday, starting tomorrow, unless it's today's Sunday for you because it's a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8. We're starting a new topic called Love Does. Love is action, not in a violent way, but in a loving way, forgiving people, loving the way Jesus would love us. Being okay and have honor and respect for one another of having a difference of opinions. Listen, if you're a liberal out there or a Democrat or an independent or somebody that doesn't agree or vote the way I do, it's okay. You have the right to believe what you want. But just remember, I also have the right to believe what I want. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of time. I wish I could stay a little bit longer. We may have to pick this up another day, but right now, violence is not the answer, and love is definitely the way and the only way. So, have a great weekend. Hope you guys join me next week. We'll see you next time.